Hi, Griff. There are immigration enforcement operations happening all over the Twin Cities, day and night. Oftentimes, agents are met with protesters and agitators on the streets here, and we've seen that repeatedly. ICE is also using a federal facility as its headquarters here, and protesters have identified that location. As we've been showing you day and night, protesters have been gathering at that facility, sometimes launching fireworks at agents. Yesterday, United States Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche went inside the facility and gave a pep talk to immigration agents there. I asked him about Governor Walz and Mayor Frey and their actions, which he described as looking for opportunities to resist. Todd Blanche: when the governor or mayor threaten our officers, when the mayor suggests he's encouraging citizens to call 911 when they see ICE officers, that's very close to a federal crime. Matt Finn: sources tell Fox News that federal prosecutors are investigating both Governor Walz and Mayor Frey for allegedly impeding law enforcement officers. Mayor Frey says this is meant to intimidate him. Governor Walz says weaponizing the law against political opponents is an authoritarian tactic. Meanwhile, the only person not being investigated in the shooting of Renee Good is the agent who shot him. Law enforcement operations have continued aggressively. A judge appointed by President Biden ruled that officers cannot use tear gas on protesters who are peacefully demonstrating. DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said protesters have launched fireworks at agents and slashed tires on their vehicles. Despite the grave situation, officers have followed training and used the minimum amount of force necessary. Agents were told that President Trump is proud of their work, will back them up, and that they do not need to fear doing their jobs. ICE official: there's this narrative on social media that they're going to get in trouble, that locals are going to go after them. That's bullshit. Matt Finn: DHS tells us that since Operation Metro Surge began here in November, a total of 3,000 illegal migrants have been taken into custody. Griff: all right, Matt Finn live for us in Minneapolis. Thank you very much. So let's bring in Saturday in America anchor, Kayleigh McEnany. So great to have you here. Kayleigh McEnany: great to be here. Griff Jenkins: let's pick up where Matt Finn left off. The DOJ says they're investigating Governor Walz and Mayor Frey for possible interference with law enforcement. We'll see where that goes. What's clear is both have used rhetoric that incited protesters to break federal law, specifically 18 U.S. Code 111, which covers obstructing, assaulting, or interfering with federal officers enforcing immigration law. We've seen protesters turning into agitators and even rioters, assaulting officers, breaking in, stealing files and weapons from agents' cars. Kayleigh McEnany: no doubt there's criminality from the protesters. As for Walz and Frey, what they've said is wrong. The First Amendment provides enormous protection for political speech, and no doubt they'll argue this is political speech and a shield for them. I also think some of their actions could lead to consideration of the Insurrection Act. The president is right to say this option is available and gives him significant authority if invoked. Griff Jenkins: several Democrats, including Ilhan Omar, disagree with you. Ilhan Omar: clip. This is about justifying the Insurrection Act and expanding the president's ability to reign terror. This amounts to declaring war on the state of Minnesota. We do not need federal authorities to help us maintain order. Griff Jenkins: because you're doing such a good job with it. Kayleigh McEnany: I'm always happy to take the opposing side of Ilhan Omar, a safe place to be. When you look at the act, the text says when unlawful obstructions make it impracticable to enforce the laws of the United States, the president may bring in the military. The president has said we're not there yet, but look at what you've covered extensively. Fireworks launched at agents, attempts to breach a federal building, the list goes on. If he chooses to go there, I'd argue he has the right to. Griff Jenkins: Democratic strategist James Carville seems to be trying to save Democrats from themselves. You have people like Omar calling to abolish ICE. Here's Carville. James Carville: clip. I don't want any Democrats talking about abolishing ICE. Talk about reforming ICE. Talk about making ICE work. We should have learned that lesson last time. Defund the police. The 3 stupidest words in the history of the English language. People want immigration control. I pressed Mayor Frey on abolishing ICE, and he walked away from it, saying no, he's not for that. He's smart to do that. I'll have James Carville on next hour. It's strange they haven't learned this lesson. Carville has. When the abolished language came out, it polled horribly, and the DNC said stop it. Here we are in 2026, and they're doing it again. Listen to Carville, or lose elections. Who else do you have on the show? A lot coming up. John Featherston, a man accused of fraud, running for president in an African country. Rob Schneider, Tom Homan, and Mr. Garafaw, a hockey player who died on the ice and says he saw the Holy Spirit.